Hello everyone, Shannon Guss here, getting you ready for our week one exit interviews for Australian Survivor Redemption. We're doing this all as one podcast every week with hopefully every exit interview that we'll put out at the end of the week with the players who've been voted out. Thank you to 10 for allowing us this access. Spoiler alert, please click away if you have not watched the whole first week of Redemption. But this week I was lucky enough to chat to Daniel, Kat, and Eliza, the first three boots of the season. And these interviews went everywhere. I had a lot of fun. Daniel and Kat were, bringing a lot of the laughs about a crazy first couple of episodes. And then it got, very deep with Eliza, who's such a big fan. And it really made me think a lot about this show and the impact that it has on all of us. For the people who get it, those who get it. And they might be maybe few and far between, because who should understand this like all-consuming love that we have for the show? But when you find that person, you kind of know, and Eliza's one of those people. So the way she's kind of reckoned with what went down, I think was very meaningful and very, great to talk to her and to hear that. So I hope that you are enjoying all of these podcasts. We put out the first week of recaps. We had Chappelle on the first recap, then Mike and Puya on recaps 2 and 3. And next week we will have Puya, then Chappelle, and then Mike will have a guest, and he'll be taking over from there with 3 podcasts a week, all the episodic recaps of the season and exit interviews as well. So subscribe to the We Know Global Survivor feed so that you get all of that. Follow me at Shannon Gates for any of the content. Follow all of the recap bitches as well to make sure that you get everything. But thank you guys so much for listening, and hope you enjoy these interviews. Bye. Daniel, hi, welcome to RHAP. How are you doing today?
Oh, brilliant. Loving life.
Yeah, I want to say my name's Shannon, but you don't have to remember it. I think it's fine.
Well, we've actually met before.
Oh, now I'm pulling a Daniel. Tell me where.
At a watch party in Sydney 2 years ago, the one where George organised with Johnny Fairplay.
Oh my God.
I was one of the fans, and I chatted to you for maybe like 5-10 minutes.
I hate myself. Oh, this feels
and
bad.
I don't have a photo with you. I have a photo with like every other person, and I'm like, darn it.
Oh my God. Well, we can screenshot this.
Yeah. Woo!
That's crazy. That's crazy because I know you're a big fan. So it's so unfortunate to be first boot.
Oh well.
Yeah. Do you think it was it really like what we saw the name stuff, or do you think there was like other stuff going on?
There's one more element that only clicked for me last night.
What was it?
It was, us WA crew also straight away were like, we're all from WA, Paula, Harry and I. WA is Western Australia. So we were like, let's work together. And then I also wanted to work with Lottie and Asha. Bad mistake. So I went to Asha, gave my olive branch of saying, hey, I want to work with you guys, but also let's also work with Harry. And she's already gone ahead. We're getting rid of Harry. So I instantly made myself unusable because I'm wanting to keep the one person she wants to get rid of. If I came up with any other name, she would have been good. But I just picked the one person that made me an unusable player for her.
Yeah, so, I thought that it might have been kind of a backdoor to getting to weakening the returnees, because you seem to be quite like returnee strong without
I wanted to be returnee strong for just the first week to glean from them and then cut them.
Yeah, right.
That was so I wanted to paint it on thick so that they would actually believe it, because these guys can sniff anything out. So you actually have to look legit when you're doing that. And so I was genuine. I wanted to keep them around for the first vote or two and then go for them.
Yeah. What did you see the tribe dynamics? Like, who did you see as sitting at the top of the food chain?
I couldn't read everything because it was just chaos. Like you could tell. Oh, actually, no, I can read one thing. Simon was at the bottom. Oh. Simon was like, I will just do anything you tell me. Like Simon wasn't doing any strategy. He made it quite clear and he was just going to do a name. I think Harry mentioned that. He's like, Simon's just going to do whatever you tell him to do. And I didn't feel like he had much say because us newbies, I don't think would have let him. And also he didn't try to, strat chat. He was the provider. He made himself very useful. He cooked all the food. He was helping with just general camp life, and he was being a huge asset there, but he didn't have any vocal say, at least for the first 2 days. That's all I can speak for because that's all I was there for.
Yeah.
But it was a bit crazy out there. So I didn't really notice a hierarchy,
Yeah, what
which is
about
probably
Oh, I mean, look, it like, and it's a unanimous vote as well, so it's really really tough, I'm sure, to discern. What about like Cameron? We saw Cameron obviously going for Jackson. Did you see some
yeah.
divide there, or did you have any kind of relationship there with anyone in that?
So as soon as we lost the challenge with the wheels going in, Cameron came up to me. He's like, "We need to work together." But then he never came to me and mentioned Jackson. I would have jumped on Jackson. The only two names I heard were Lottie and Rich. No, sorry, Loz and Rich. I'm already getting names wrong. Loz
Yeah,
and Rich. And
yeah,
they were the only two names I heard. And I'm like, Rich is cool. I really enjoy him, but like not worth fighting for to keep around to put my neck out for. So I'd rather Loz go. So that was my mentality. And they were the only two names I heard. And I wasn't just going to throw an extra name out to mix and muddy everything up. But I did throw the wrong name out in front of his face. So I did muddy it up.
yeah. Well, I mean, Loz is interesting because we didn't see so much of that. We saw more about Rich, and you vote for Loz. What was happening with Loz that kind of put her on the outs a bit?
Well, you would have seen how, well, I think I was told by people we want to vote with, let's try and keep Richard around because Richard's fun. Richard's cool. I love Richard. And so I just was like, hey, if we can turn it towards Loz instead, I'm jumping on. I really enjoyed Rich. And I had a nice chat with Loz, but it wasn't as building a relationship with. And that's the way I honestly thought it was. Everyone had the same story to what I heard. Everyone would only ever talk about Richard or Loz to me. And that was the only thing I heard. So from the information I had, it seemed like it was going on Loz, which was not the information everyone else had.
Yeah. What about someone like Lyndall? We see that she's somewhat connected to Loz, and obviously, like we know that she is like doing stuff with the idol. Did you have much of a connection with her, or did it seem like she had power in the tribe from your
I
viewpoint?
didn't. I had no clue that she found that clue. When I saw that happen, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, "What?" No idea. So I didn't know Lyndall had an advantage until last night. So that factored in nothing to with my game because I found out yesterday.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so
Did,
that relationship I didn't notice.
yeah, but did you think did she seem to have a lot of power in the tribe, or was she more kind of like a floater for you?
Just a floater.
Right. Interesting.
It felt like everyone was like, it was this awkward dance of all floating around. And it was hard to read because everyone was just so lovely. And there was no reason to vote anyone out.
Yeah. That's
No, like we didn't have someone like Nash from last year that was just this huge force of just chaos. Everyone was just really lovely and nice. And I'm just like, where's this jerk to vote off? And that was just so frustrating. I'm just like, where's this annoying person that I can send home? Because like people are like, oh, so why do you want Loz out? And I'm like, I don't have I didn't say I don't have a reason. I was just like, oh, like she seems nice, but like, we're not here to just keep a nice person around. We're here to play Survivor. So yeah, it was very much clutching at straws during the scramble.
Yeah, it definitely seems like we said preseason, this is a really nice cast. Usually you're relying on someone just like blowing themselves up and you just like stay out of the way of the debris. But I feel like everyone in your tribe was getting along, which is really hard.
Yeah. And I was just like, where's this annoying person? Anyway, apparently I was the annoying person.
Well, do you feel like the Baron bounty twist kind of affected things? Because firstly, I mean, it's hard to discern for me on screen like what the disparity was with Baron coming back and winning that challenge. Like, do you feel like it gave you much of an advantage? And do you also feel like in some ways maybe that is a disadvantage? Like we see with John, because they have to build the shelter, that gives him opportunity to kind of piss people off and put his foot in it. And you guys have a shelter, so that kind of opportunity for drama and some conflict maybe is taken away. So do you think that affected things for good or bad?
I guess that, yeah, it does remove a chance for conflict when you don't have to work together. So we had everything just given to us on a silver platter. Well, we earned it. But yeah, it does remove a chance for someone to stand out. So I guess that is a slight disadvantage for tribe dynamics. But then again, we had a shelter, like if it rained, which it didn't rain in our first 2 days, which means what's the shelter really needed for the first 2 days? And is it really Survivor if you're not like suffering on the beach for night one? Like we had a beautiful roof overhead. We had fire instantly. They didn't even show who started the fire. Lyndall, she was the one that started the fire. She was doing a great job out there. It was just like, woo, cheer. Yeah. But anyway, it was an awesome time out there, which was, it was just kumbaya, which was like not what you really want for the first bit.
Yeah. Well, speaking of kumbaya, I want to talk about the jacket moment where Simon asked you for your jacket. But did any part of you not want to do that? And were you aware of the lore of jacket asking in Survivor and how iconic this moment is?
So I watched David vs. Goliath in like 2 months before I went out
Oh,
for the first time. So I had seen that. Yeah, and I was like, okay, that's a great moment. And then also Nathan's jacket previous
yes.
season. And so I wouldn't have given my jacket if it wasn't asked because it wasn't on my head because I was just like in a whirlwind in my brain, like in shock. But I'm someone that's a very generous person. It's just part of who I am. And so if someone asks for something, I'm going to do it. And there's even like a scripture in the Bible, if someone asks for your coat, give it to them. So like if someone who doesn't deserve something asks for something, even if they're not like your ally, you have to be generous. And I feel like I lived out my faith in a really practical way, which I'm really proud of.
That's really beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful, but I think if it cuts to you in the jacket in your final words, that's hilarious. But I love that you redeemed the jacket moment for Survivor.
Yeah. So I'm happy with how it went. And also I get to watch my jacket on the screen for the next however long. So I'm like, nice. Like part of me lives on.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And it's just gonna be a fun Easter egg to watch just to see how much it actually pops up. So yeah, I'm living on. I may be gone from the screen, but remnants of me last.
Yeah. Hopefully it makes it to final travel count. So I'm rooting for the jacket. But yeah, I mean, we
Yeah,
didn't.
let's hope the winner's wearing my jacket.
That'd be very, very cool. I think at that if it's gotten the winner to the win, they owe you some money, I think, personally.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We never got to know like what did you consider your redemption story coming in? I don't think we really saw that.
So when I found out the theme was redemption, I said back to the producers, I don't fit this theme at all.
Oh, that's the redemption,
I'm just
maybe.
like, what? I'm like, what am I meant to like make something up? And I felt like I was clutching at straws, finding a redemption story for myself. Because in my faith, redemption isn't earned. Like it is a free gift from God. Like you are redeemed through what Jesus did. So I'm like, earning my own redemption. This is messed up. So I'm just like, no, it's just a TV show, Daniel. Like, get over it. Don't go theologically deep. But yeah, I don't really feel like I fit the theme of redemption, but I had a big personality, entertaining for TV, and they wanted that, and I take that as a huge compliment.
Amazing. Well, it was great to speak to you again. To
Yes.
not to meet you, but to chat to you. Thank you so much, Daniel, and great to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, it's been a delight, Shannon, and good luck with your baby.
Thank you so much. Bye, Daniel. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye. Hi, Kat. Welcome to RHAP. Lovely to watch you on The Traders and now on Survivor. Thank you for coming onto the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I have so many questions. I feel like this went from 0 to 1,000 so quickly. I guess that's the first question. It's like, why,
Yeah,
what made it so imperative? You're trying this big move on Mark and on Faith, who have a lot of power. What was
yeah,
your kind of reasoning behind that and it being at that time?
yeah. Look, I could see the power forming between them, and I just wanted to disrupt it. It certainly wasn't my plan to go home, but I wanted to disrupt the power, and there's something in it that's about me and liking to disrupt power. This is just in general, but certainly in the game, I thought, man, I don't want them to have that advantage from day one.
Yeah. So who were the allies that you were looking at to kind of get that together?
Yeah, so look, Tez and Blanche were people that I definitely put more faith and trust into. Um, and there were outliers who I probably was trying to suss out. Um, but look, I went hell for leather in the scramble. I went for major moves early because I felt with the returnee players, everything was pumped up a notch. And I just thought, why not go for it? Like, oh, I've got a slim chance of winning against these people. So I'm just going to go hell for leather.
Yeah, I mean, Mark obviously he'd watch you on the Traders. There's a show we actually covered. He came on as a guest as well. So did you tell anyone about the Traders before that? Right, and then he clocked you. So talk us through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my gameplay had to change pretty quick. Like I knew going in that if anyone had seen my season, that it would be harder for me. And so I thought I won't say anything, but if I see that anyone has clocked my season, then I'm going to have to say something, or they'll use it against me later in the game. So I just decided to divulge once I worked out that Mark had seen the show.
Yeah, how long into the game did you have that conversation?
It wasn't a conversation. He just kept smiling at me, and so and so I think he's watched my season before.
Right, right. So did you how did you see the hierarchy? Was it similar to what we had on the show? Obviously with Mark and Faith, they're seeing the power that they have, but did you kind of see it in the way that we've seen it?
Yeah, I saw it forming, and I saw it forming really early. And then I could also see them going away and having separate conversations, and then not wanting to be seen talking too much, which I think was the real key for me. It was like, oh, I can see you both putting the tentacles out, and you know, you're doing divide and conquer. And so I could see it all happening, and I needed to disrupt it. I just wasn't sophisticated in the way that I disrupted it.
Yeah, I mean the lie that well from what we knew was a lie. Like you go to Brooke and say that Faith is coming
Yes.
for returnees. Was there any
Yes.
truth to that, or was it truly just like I'm making this up and like the thought process behind that?
Oh no, I was throwing out lies left, right, and centre, and I just thought if one of these sticks, I've got a chance. And so that's what I did. I just went for it. I took a major risk, didn't pay off, but I don't regret it.
Yeah, amazing. Well, some of these relationships, like Brooke as an example, she said she really liked you. She's fighting for you in that tribal
Yes.
council. What was the relationship like with her?
Yeah, look, it was great. I think for me, I didn't trust the returnees, like whether they were with me or against me. I just didn't trust them because they just have so much more knowledge about the game. They have so much more knowledge about, you know, how to socially maneuver in that game. So I felt it didn't matter because they were my competition and they were well versed. So whilst I was making those connections, I think I also had a bit of a war going on as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned Tez and Blanche. What was it about them that made you close to them?
Yes. Oh, it's just who they are as people. They're very genuine. They're very authentic, and I felt a sense of that perhaps they valued loyalty in the same ways that I did. So there was just a draw. Like you're just drawn to different humans, and I was very much drawn to both of them.
So we see on the show that you kind of pivot. And we don't really see how it happens, but it feels like you're like, this isn't going great. And then kind of
Yeah.
pivot to pushing it on to Johnson. So what was kind of giving you that spidey sense and how were you trying to pivot in that moment?
Yes. So this it look the pivot came from desperation, and the spidey sense pivot came from pure desperation. I could see that I didn't have the numbers. I knew that it wasn't going to go the way, like everything that I was throwing out to stick, it wasn't taking. And so I thought that was my only chance to kind of save myself. I wasn't sure if it was going to go Don or it was going to go to Johnson. And then I just, in the end, I went with Johnson. And that's why when I wrote his name down, that's why I said it really, really loud because I was like, hopefully the people that I've trusted in will hear that that's who I'm voting for and they will write it too. But I just, unlucky.
Yeah, I'd love to hear about both Johnson and Don. I mean, Don, it felt like he was sticking out, but is, being protected here in this group. Did something change, or do you think people are on the Don train now, or it's not going well for him, but he's like being used as a number? Like, what's happening there?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to determine because for me, like he rubbed me the wrong way as he did some other people. And so I feel like it just felt like people were doing an easy vote to, a little bit of a kumbaya vote if they were going for Don, which I just thought was pretty boring. But I also thought it was a bit of a ruse too. Like they were splitting votes, like earlier in the day, Don was always going to vote for me, blah, blah, blah. So I think once you get in there, you've just got to be so agile. And if you've got to flick a vote somewhere else to save yourself, like that's what you do. Johnson, I actually wanted to play longer so I could get a chance to play with Johnson. Like I just think, it would have been interesting to see where that went. I think, yeah, it's hard to know with the both of them how it's going to play out.
Yeah, was it like very obvious that Johnson, Ben, and Sally had kind of set themselves apart?
Oh, I don't recall thinking that, to be honest. Like I definitely know that Don was probably going to be an easy vote because he'd rubbed people up the wrong way, and Johnson was more just because his scramble was a bit more overt with people around, I'm only saying this to you, I'm only saying this to you. Like, I think, he'd said that to too many people who then told other people. So hard to know where that would have gone.
Yeah. All right, I'd love to talk about this tribal council because it's great to get a tribal council with so many fireworks a few days into the game for us personally. We see Tez kind of dropping that bomb first on Johnson with some of the information that you've given him, and then you push it further. Was that coordinated with Tez in any way, knowing that you have a relationship, or were you planning that and Tez just happened to also do it, or did you kind of take from his cue, or like what was the thought process through the fireworks there?
Yeah, no. So Tez and I hadn't discussed any of that. So that was Tez going off, and then when Tez went off, I thought, oh, here's my chance. Maybe something will stick.
Yeah.
So like whenever you get these little opportunities, if you see a little crack, a little opening, you just try and go for it. But no, it wasn't coordinated at all. Like once Tez went there, I thought, okay, I've dropped about 38 bombs today. What's another 12? So I just went and did did a few more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it causes like this big scramble and everyone's getting up. We didn't see you get up, and like obviously Mark's having those conversations, and your concern had been Mark and Faith who are now in these conversations. Did you get up, or did you think that you like was there anything there that you kind of wish you would have done, or could have like I don't know, anything there?
I think because when Tez goes up and Mark's like, nah,
Yeah.
I was just like, well, same thing's going to happen to me. Like, I'm going to get up. He's just going to divert the conversation. He'll get someone to talk to me while he talks to someone else. Like, it just felt, at that point, it felt quite futile. Because also he had the numbers in that moment too. So he had the numbers. He had his sort of harem of women around him. And it was just, yeah, I didn't have the numbers. It was sad.
Yeah, what was like your sense? Because obviously, as you said, you had the Spidey sense before and you're trying to bury Johnson. How did you feel
Yeah.
your chances were before tribal, going into tribal, throughout, and then kind of leading into the votes? Did you feel like it was getting worse, or how did you feel your chances were there?
Yeah, look, I knew it was bad when I wasn't getting eye contact prior going in. Like as soon as people stop looking at you, you're in deep. You are probably at that point already too far in. So look, there was a lot of no eye contact, and then I was like, oh no, it's me. And then obviously the scrambles leading up to it, and then me sitting in tribal. I certainly did feel like it was me at that point too. So I don't think it changed. I didn't think it was me possibly a day or the 2 days before, but I also hadn't made any of those big moves yet. So
Yeah. Had you been spared, had Johnson gone home, what would your plan have been at that point? Like, did you have a next day thinking of that? Like, were you going to try and reintegrate a little bit, or keep gunning for Mark and Faith, or like, was there a thought process
I
there?
reckon because I'd thrown so many bombs, reintegration would have been near impossible. Like I think I would have been ostracized coming back, but perhaps that wouldn't be the worst thing because usually when you're ostracized, you're not the threat. So I think I was just taking each kind of almost like hour blocks. I really wasn't thinking as far ahead as that because I just needed to get to each little hurdle before I could then strategize the next part.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to ask you this, and I asked Daniel, but he was on the Bounty tribe, so you would know better. The Baron and Bounty twist, how do you feel that affects things? Because I feel like you guys have kind of caught up. Do you feel like it's kind of even now, or do you think there's still a disparity there from them winning that first reward?
Well, it's hard because they, like, obviously, they had their beautiful shelter and all the rest of it while we're rolling around in dirt with the crabs. Like, not a great start. But it did give us the thirst and the drive to then win immunity, which is, more important. So I think, yeah, I feel like the tribe has caught up a bit. Like, I feel like that was sort of what we needed, that taste. And it was just, when you've had nothing and then you're looking at people and they've got everything, it does, give you a boot up the bum to try just a little bit harder. Just like, is there one more inch left in the tank that you can push with?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very rare, I feel, for someone to do Traders then Survivor. We've seen people go the other way. Yeah. With the experience of having done both, how do you kind of compare those experiences? Because it's funny because I feel like Mark talks about it in these kind of different experiences levels in reality TV. And obviously it's a game of, it's a strategic game and you get the TV experience. But did you feel like there was a lot to take from Survivor, having been like a faithful on the Traders before, to take to Survivor?
Yeah, it's such a different game. Like, it's so different in terms of how it pushes you because, I mean, trust is probably the theme across both, right? Like, you have to trust enough people early enough to get you through, but not so much that you can't then write their name down later on. So it's that real tentative dance, which I actually really enjoy. Like, I enjoy that side of the gameplay, but it is very different. Like, I feel like being out in the open elements, you're just slightly more vulnerable. There's an added level of vulnerability that kind of pokes into your psyche a little bit. And I think it's probably why you might go a bit extra as well.
Yeah.
You're out in the elements, there's not much going on. And it's like, how can I make this just a little bit spicier? How can I make this just a little bit more interesting? Yeah, just give you free reign, really. I feel
Yeah.
like Survivor's a bit more of an open game, a little bit more open slather.
For sure. But I mean, my co-host Mike said that he reminded him what you made tribal council, what you and Tez made tribal council, kind of felt like a round table more. So I feel like you brought that element of the traders into Survivor as well. And I feel like as well because you were a faithful. So I feel after a few days here, you're like, I've been a faithful for a season and a bit. I kind of want to be a trader right now. So maybe that influenced it a little
Oh,
bit.
the first lie I told, it just propelled me to tell more because there are so many that just weren't even shown because I was like, when are you going to get the chance to be this naughty, eh? And so I thought, oh, who cares? I'll just do it. And then I got a taste of it. And then each one led to another one. And then sometimes I couldn't even remember what they were. So it became really, really intense really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. I feel like people very rarely just like outright lie on Survivor, which is, it's probably quite hard to follow, as you said, when you don't have the traders breakfast in the morning, at the very least, giving you some of that help. So look, it was very, very entertaining. I'm sorry that it went the way that it did, but thank you so much for coming onto the podcast, and it was great to chat to you.
I enjoyed it so much. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you. Bye. Have a great day.
See ya.
Eliza, no, I'm not meant to be speaking to you today. How are you doing?
I know we had a date locked in for 45 days time.
Yeah, that's what I wanted personally. It's so upsetting to see this happen. How much of the episode last night was a surprise to you? I feel like a lot of it being the sleep through line. Were you aware that any of that was happening, or was that like kind of a shocking through line to be the reason you go home?
The sleep through line?
Yeah, it was just waking Lyndall up.
But I didn't wake Lyndall up. She was awake.
Oh, she was awake, even
Yeah.
more so.
Yeah. No, no, no. I would never. I'm a good enough player to know that you never wake up a sleeping survivor player. She just, I think, got more and more frustrated and more
That she couldn't
angry.
sleep.
I guess so, yeah. It had rained a lot that day, so she was settling and around by the fire with Harry and getting ready. No, she wasn't. I wouldn't wake anyone. I wouldn't wake anyone up. And she said it. She said it the first time that she said it that she was like, it was raining and I was shuffling around, and then her story sort of changed as she got more vitriolic about the injustice of having someone talk to you at nighttime.
Yeah, I did notice that at first because we didn't see, like, I felt like the actual interaction of her getting up was vague. And I do
Yeah.
think at first she was like, there was a confusion between the waking and the getting up. What do you attribute this crack to? Because you're trying to work with her, right? You're trying to give her
Yeah.
information that we see is accurate. So what went wrong there?
Well, what went wrong? I think that well, she would later tell me she was like, I was just being a bitch. Like it was just one of those is it just was as simple as that. Like I was giving her information that was keeping her awake from sleeping. Is as simple as
Right,
that
right.
gets.
It kept her up with bad news.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. But the emphasis was on the sleep. The emphasis was on I was keeping her from sleeping. And I guess I was like, baby, we're playing Survivor. None of us are sleeping. None of us are eating. But yeah, that is from my understanding exactly how simple that was.
What had your relationship been like with her before that?
I definitely tried to play with her and give her a lot of information. That first day on the mat, I told her there was going to be an idol at the end of that big run when with that big pyramid puzzle. Because like I'm a savvy enough player to know that when you have a big opening challenge where one player is sequestered from the rest of the tribe, there's going to be an idol there. Whether she already knew that or not, like I don't know, but I certainly was like pulling her over and being like, girl, you go get that idol and like, let's play. I was definitely trying to play with her. My end game. So if that conversation had landed, my next step was to create a four with Lyndall, Loz, Richard, and myself. So
Yeah.
she was the kingpin of that trio. So I was going to present to her the option of let's work together as a four and become like a third prong of this split.
Yeah.
Like I was just trying to create more diversity within the tribe voting blocks.
But is that how Lyndall saw herself? Because like I
No,
agree with you on that. I feel like Lyndall,
no.
we do hear that she's left out of this big group, and you say you get this information, you're not sure how verifiable it is. Did you
No,
see her as
that
that?
was a sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
Shannon.
Oh
No,
no,
that
yeah, it
was
was a
a
Frankenbite.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a Frankenbite. I absolutely knew
Yeah.
that that was the case. You saw me on camera going,
Yeah.
me, I'm left. I know that I'm on the
Yeah.
bottom. Like, but I was okay with playing either the bottom of the top or the top of the bottom in those initial that first week. You know, like players are going to classically burn out. We had two returnees that were copping a lot of flame. I was just remaining open and available to work with everyone whilst trying to find my ride or die who I could talk really hard strap with. Lyndall had no idea that she was on the bottom.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the only information that I gave her. I gave her a ton of information because I just felt like when you're coming with news like that, you have to be irrefutable and give enough receipts and give enough context of like, I wasn't just going up to her going, hey, me, you are on the bottom. Like I was talking her through exactly where the tribe was, exactly where she stood, and why she wasn't where she believed. She thought she was at the top. She thought
Yeah.
she was at the top for sure. And I think that, you know, that's a testament to Harry and Simon for letting her believe that.
Yeah, so interesting. And then what about Loz? Because I feel like surely she should know that Loz's name has been out there, it's kind of out there. Like from that alone, maybe she would maybe want to make a move, or how did she feel about that?
You'll have to ask her. I don't think that that was part of what I was trying to also give her was letting her understand that I'm the player that can help her see votes ahead. So I was pitching to her like, sure, it might be me tonight, but let's think over and trying to talk with her over what the next two or three votes could be, including Loz and that danger there. Um, you can only see what you can see. And like, I didn't anticipate that Lyndall was the type of player that valued a lot of sleep time.
Well, it's true. It's like, sleep on your own time when you're on Survivor. It
But
is a
she
very
wasn't asleep, by the way. I'm just
yeah,
taking
she
the piss.
wasn't.
But like,
I yeah. Mostly people do like when information comes to them on Survivor. It's usually a good bet. Who were your other close relationships? You say you wanted to make this four. We know that you have Jackson. Like who are
Yeah.
you vibing with on the tribe?
I had a secret alliance with Simon that came after our first tribal with Daniel. He approached me and locked me in. And also that was like something that I wanted to give a lot of space because Lottie was Simon's cuddle buddy, and I knew that that would really inflame Lottie if I came too close to Simon during that time. And Richard was really locked in with me. And I didn't do a good enough job of letting him know how secure I was with him. But I don't think it would have made a difference at the end of the day. Like Richard didn't carry much weight at the tribe at that time. So even if you did have Richard going, maybe not Eliza, like I don't think it would have made a difference because he was working with Lyndall, who was really upset with me.
Yeah, would you have had like any traction if you get this group together? Like if you can bring in maybe like a Jackson, like is there a majority there for you at any point, or are you all kind of fighting from the bottom anyway? With some, yeah, because it's, I mean, if you bring in Jackson, that's five, right? Rich and Loz and Lyndall and you. And is there any kind of move there for you,
Well,
or
my move was trying to like be able to present Harry an option for Lottie.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
uh
yeah.
like that would have been the next go. Harry did not like the smell of me from as soon as I came on. I really demonstrated, I guess an unforced error is like I demonstrated some really key like prowess moments that only he saw, and he was sus on me. I was a bit of a nighttime, like I was quite active at night, and so is Harry. And like we all know, Harry wants to think that he's the type of player who can be super loyal, and like I feel like that's a part of his redemption. But like Harry is so bloodthirsty, he can't help it. And so I don't think he saw me as an opportunity to play with. I think he saw me as a threat, an opportunity of a threat, or he just couldn't pin me.
Yeah. So at the point where the vote comes to voting for laws, like how had you felt that had gone with Lindor? Like, yeah, I mean, this is all your plans, obviously, and now you're like it's a vote for people on the bottom, which is not what you wanted. So how were you kind of thinking through that pathway and like how you were going to get out of it?
As in the scramble.
Well, just yeah, in terms of the fact that, that's the way it ends up going. It's between Lyndall and Loz's kind of pair and you wanted all those people to be working together, and then you vote for Loz, right? So
Well,
yeah,
at that time, so in the Daniel vote, Loz was a really hot ticket at that time.
yeah,
And so it was sort of like this, like, well, let's just do a hangover. And you can see at the start, like, that's where the vote was really like, and Simon was advocating for Loz, like, that was the tide that turned. Um, I. I'm stuck in this moment where like I want to be able to say like things that happened, but also really respect the story that's told. So I guess an important part of information was like I was at medical during that scramble for a lot of the
okay,
time. So
yeah,
when you do see me in the background of those shots, no, there's not, it's been set, like, and I think that I didn't do a good enough job of announcing to everyone that I was going to medical. The Survivor God sort of slipped me away, and I should have gone, I'm going to medical because, like, later Paula would tell me, we thought that you were hunting for idols. We thought you'd found one. You were gone for the scramble. No one could find you. And so I think I should have done a better job of communicating where I was at what time, and that, but it certainly wasn't me when the scramble began, but it was when by the time that we were through with it. Um, so I was hearing some really suspicious things, but it was a blind side. Like
Yeah.
it was a blindside. I wasn't exactly sure why I would have been on the chopping block at that time. I think probably to be self-critical of my game, I didn't understand the incentive to vote me out because one, I was really strong. I was contributing around camp, but also the survivor player in me is you don't vote out the sick girl. She's sick. Keep the sick girl. So that's like where I'm like, why would you? I didn't see the incentive to get me out, but what I should have been doing was focusing on what was their incentive to keep me in. And at that time, I think that Jackson was mine, and I was making a lot of players like he was a key piece that would have been really fun to play with. So separating me from him, even though we would have been such a great two, like that in my mind, like why isn't that valuable? But whatever. Sorry. I think that I could have done a better job of anticipating that they didn't have enough incentive to keep me in,
Yeah.
rather than their incentive to get me out.
What was it about Jackson? And we see he reminded you of your dog, so that's important.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that was it. Was that the main thing?
No, no, no. I went into the game specifically looking for a certain type of alliance. I wanted a Kaylin. Yeah, I wanted that archetype of someone who was really strong and very valuable in that early stage of the game, who didn't know the game that well and was loyal and a puppy dog archetype. And Jackson was like, ah, I was like, it's Kaylin. And so I really was like, and I was able to teach him like what a swing vote was and like really like get him in. And also he was so open and receptive to feedback and he was so open to learning. And so I would just try and teach him as much as I could and understanding that I was like, Harry does not value you in the way that you think that he does, like such and such and such. And yeah, so no, he was definitely the archetype that fitted the perfect alliance for me at that part of the game. And Simon was also someone who was like that puppy dog, knew he was going to be a chaotic agent, but knew that his redemption story was really locking him into a certain flow of game that I think that I could have played with.
I mean, with Lyndall, to go back to Lyndall, so since that conversation happened and she was feeling some type of way about it, did you pick up on any of that? Like the way she
Yeah.
received you and like was that obvious to you in the moment?
Yeah. And the next day, she couldn't make eye contact with me. She started to throw out Jackson's name instantly. And that's why I was like, remember in that scene with the pot where Jackson's like, it's me. And I was like, why would it be you? But yeah, so yeah, I knew that it had not gone well almost as soon as the conversation ended. I thought that she was waging war because of the pieces of information that I was giving her. I did not know that it was specifically because of the context of keeping her from going to sleep.
Yeah.
I felt like I could have said anything to her in that moment. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that was what was the surprise to me that like I didn't think she would she just obviously didn't listen to anything I said. I was like, well, obviously thought that I was well, as she said, being paranoid.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she doesn't believe that, right? So she thinks you're coming to her with false information. Well, either false or you're reading it wrong. It's just she's not, yeah, reading the accurate information there. But what about some of the other people in the tribe, like, Asha or Cameron or like any of those? You said there were these kind of other factions. Like, what were
Yep.
your working relationships like there?
I was just being really open and wanting to talk to everyone. Asha was playing a one-day game every single day. She was like hot oil coming into the game. She pulled me day one and she's like, who do you want? She would be the kind of player who always wanted you to put a name down straight away. This is like day one, and you're like, Mamma mia. I guess I was trying, obviously didn't do a good enough job of trying to make her feel like I was workable with, but I certainly wasn't gonna um, blow up my game because she wanted me to put a name down. But I certainly felt like I would have definitely worked with all of them. Like I would have worked with all of them. I wasn't playing a game at that point that um it wasn't important to me to draw a line in the sand. It was important to me to establish as many relationships as possible and lock in two key alliances. Um, yeah.
What was your perspective on that first vote? Obviously, names we hear are like Jackson and Rich, who are going to be allies. I'm not sure about like the timing of all of that. And then
Jackson was
Daniel.
never in there.
Right.
The real vote was like Richard or Loz. That's
Right.
why Loz
Yeah.
was the key point. It was like, and you heard Simon saying like, let's do Loz, like it's a hangover from last week. And also it was true. I do believe Harry was being genuine in saying that it was like a really great tribe and that there was no, I want to add something to the cultural lexicon. You have shields. I want to add something called a lightning rod. So we had, in my opinion, we didn't have a lightning rod player like a Don. Like, and you're expecting that you're going to get one or two on that island, and that made everyone really uneasy. It was separated by decimal points. It was
Yeah.
like a challenge that we lost by one coconut, and we were all really nervous about like who could that next person be. The lightning rod would sucking energy and attention from everyone. Like we didn't have that, so all of the guns started to point on each other.
Yeah, which is so rare in Australian Survivor because I feel like you have like usually like a Nash or a Kent
Yes.
or like, and that kind of like usually is what sustains a lot of the first couple of weeks.
We
So
were all contributing to the tribe. We were all doing work. Like we were all there wasn't reality TV drama. Like we were
yeah,
all really being the
normal.
Kumbaya tribe,
Yeah.
which means that something's got to give.
Yeah, then like people are fighting to find these like tiny little things of like, well, this is your thing. And it's like, well, you should have met Kent, like
Correct, correct,
like,
correct.
none of this
And if
compares.
that thing was keeping Lyndall awake, then that's
But
my cross to bear, Shannon.
yeah. I mean, I know you're such a huge fan, and this, like, that's really painful. Like, I, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I have a question around it, but I guess I do. It's like, this means, so much to you. And I know it's like a huge passion of yours, and that's just, it is like a completely random thing. Like, how has that been?
Like, I think Survivor is like a very sort of almost spiritual thing. Like, I really do love it. And like, Survivor, it doesn't give you the lesson that you want, it gives you the lesson that you need, but with like a 2x4 to the face. Like, it is the most brutal, like, lesson maker. It's been like, I feel like I've grown so much, but like, I worked my ass off coming into the game. And I think I did a great job of showing people this dorky, goofy, poodle-like player. But I wish that I got to show that, like, what a savage strategist, like, that was a part of the game. And I guess I wasn't able to show. But that's also what's so beautiful about Survivor is that, like, yeah, you're given what you need, not what you want. And like, if that's the lesson that you take into real life of like, you can't wait until you get the chance to do it. You just have to play your best game every single day, which I think I did. And I'm super proud of the alliance that I made with Jackson. In one day, I was able to get him locked in like that. And I just, like, with one coconut, your life can change. It's been like you sign up and you ask for that. You get ready for the unpredictable. I'm not going to say it's not easy. Like, it's really hard.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I can't imagine the anticipation, and I know you care a lot. I know not everyone on Australian Survivor necessarily cares as much as you do, maybe as a life event, and maybe not even that, maybe as an experience, but I know how passionate you are about it. Well, if there's any consolation on this network, third boots are a very sacred thing. And it's a very, very proud club. So if you're not first, you should be third boot. I think that is kind of how we see it here. But my heart is broken for you. I'm so sorry that it went that way. And hopefully we'll see you again on the show. I know we'll see you in the community, which is an awesome thing. And, you know, I for the parts of the dream that you got to live, like I'm so happy for you, but I'm really sorry it went that way.
Thank you so much. Like it really was like, you know, that I'm like such a big fan of yours as well. Like it has been like it has been the most surreal, but also really beautiful. Like it's gonna get really fun. Like I know that I'm sad today. It's just a big day. Like, but yeah, it's gonna like, I can't wait to like join the community now.
Yeah, well, we can't wait to have you, and that is definitely a silver lining. Again, I'm so sorry to lose you. For you, for me, it's all just devastating. But it's great to chat to you, Eliza, and wishing you all the best.
To be continued. Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks so much.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.